Hi, everyone. I hope you're doing well. So, today I actually wanted to record this message around what it truly means to surrender on this journey. And the reason why I'm making this for the twin flame community is because I seem to see this pattern with twins that, after a certain amount of time has gone by on your twin flame journey and you're not in union, which you really can't be unless you're doing the inner work, you tend to reach this point of frustration. And that frustration leads you to saying things like, it's okay if I don't come together with my twin flame. I've totally given up the idea of being with my twin flame. But the reason I can tell you that that is not true is because you're still out in twin flame communities trying to figure the connection out, trying to figure out what the DM is up to, trying to figure out, when your twin is going to come back in for union. So that is not surrender. And the reason why I'm making this clear is because a lot of twins, I will see, comments around, I am, I've totally surrendered the connection. But here, what we are confusing surrender with is what I want to clarify. When I speak of surrender, or if you hear the term surrender in the twin flame community, if it's coming from a true twin flame coach, that surrender is actually a term that comes from mysticism. So I want to make it very clear so you are not stuck in this, illusion that you don't really care about union when you actually do, because that is not the same as spiritual surrender. So I kind of want to break this down to help you identify where you are on the journey and what you might be doing wrong, so that if you truly do want union, you can be honest with yourself, put the work in, and really get to that place. Because let's be honest, if you do not do the work, the twin flame journey is not something you can escape. Why is that? Well, I've created a video on, the two twins being replicated into two bodies, right? You are basically a single soul that has been reincarnated into two bodies. So there is really no escaping this connection. What you might be doing when you call it surrender, or you say, I no longer care about this, but nothing's really shifted for you on the journey, you are still in a place of, kind of being stuck in this connection. The only way to truly say, I no longer want this, and I'm okay with it, is once you've done the work. There is a state that you reach, which we call the state of neutrality, the state of reaching point zero, where you are truly enlightened and the soul is now in a place of no longer desiring something on the outside of themselves, because you are actually now whole within yourself. So somebody who is still seeking answers on any form of a video out in the twin flame community, you are not there. Point blank. You are still stuck in your twin flame dynamic. You are frustrated that nothing is shifting. You don't know how to get there. And therefore you are, kind of lying to yourself about where you truly are on this journey. So let me be clear here. When we speak of spiritual surrender, okay, if you are truly hearing somebody talk about spiritual surrender, what this is referring to is you actually going to a place, and most likely if you are experiencing spiritual surrender, you've already gone through at least one dark night of the soul. The true reason you experience a dark night of the soul, okay, this is where you feel rather lonely, you feel like you're isolated from the world, you don't understand what's really happening, and this has to happen, by the way, after your Kundalini activation or some other form of a spontaneous spiritual awakening. But for twin flames, let's talk about Kundalini, because that is what you've experienced. When you are in a place of spiritual surrender, it's when you are literally developing that relationship with God, with divine, and you're in a place of being, hitting rock bottom, down on your knees, literally saying, God, what do you need from me? Where do I go from here? You are no longer relying on validation outside of yourself. You are not seeking answers outside of yourself, but literally you feel cornered, and you are now asking God, which is within you, to say, help me. Where do I go from here? I'm willing to follow the guidance that comes for me, but tell me, guide me, let me know where I need to go. Spiritual surrender in this sense is a mystical term. When you hear saints and mystics talk about the spiritual surrender, they are literally talking about you enhancing that relationship with the divine. Your twin flame journey is not a journey about your journey with your twin. It is a journey about you with yourself and your relationship with the divine. This is actually truly a love story between you and the divine. And the only way you're going to reach the spiritual surrender is when you're ready to do that inner work. Sometimes what happens is you go through multiple awakenings before your full awakening. Okay? So why you go through multiple awakenings is because God is literally getting you to a place where you are ready to understand that you are not alone. You have guidance that's available to you, and there is a higher power out there that is ready to help you, guide you, and govern you. But you have to get to that place. You see, when we're in a place of operating from our ego, we are consumed with looking outside of ourselves, right? Taking a look at, me, I. It's all about me. How do I, function in the world, my title, my roles, my goals, my achievements. But when we are truly in service of the divine, where we are truly in, building that relationship with the divine, that focus shifts from the outside and towards the inside. And this only happens as the physical form of you outside of you, that me, that I, that's ready to crumble, right? We all are spiritual beings having a human experience. So the closer we are moving from that human experience to God, that ego has to crumble, that I has to crumble. That is spiritual surrender. So please, if you are in a place of, damn it, 5 years have gone by, 10 years have gone by, 15 years have gone by, I'm okay. I'm okay with, me not being in union with my twin. That is not spiritual surrender. That is just frustration of not knowing how to get out of that loop, because until you do the inner work, no matter what you do, no matter how content you think you are being outside of yourself, okay, you might even be with some other partner that you've managed to attract toward you, or you might be in a marriage, whatever, but your twin flame will linger on in your mind in the background. And the only way to shift that lingering to being non-existent is to do the inner work. When I talk about inner work, your primary thing is meditation. The journey to the divine is an inward journey. You will not find the divine if you go to the roots of spirituality from anywhere in the world. Mystics are all speaking the same language. They have always been pointing you towards the inside. Your relationship with God cannot exist outside of yourself. You can call, you can, do prayer, you could bow down to anything or anyone that you may have grown up to believe, but the true divine, the formless divine, the point of creation is within you. So your inward journey is how you are truly going to get to that external union, which is a byproduct of your inward journey from where you are today, the egoic self, towards your, merged self with the divine. And that is only possible by stepping into wholeness, by doing the ascension work. Let me just be clear here. It's called the twin flame journey for a reason. Could you think that you could get to Mexico, if that's where you wanted to be from wherever you are today, by simply thinking about Mexico, by, visualizing Mexico? No, at some point you would have to take the inspired action of getting onto a plane and getting to Mexico. you could not just, think about Mexico and say that you got to that destination. So if your, destination that you want in mind is union with your counterpart, or let's say you don't even care for union, but that true not wanting union with your twin actually doesn't come to be until you've stepped into wholeness, which again, the only way to get there is through meditation. You would not be able to say that I don't want, that union with my twin. To even have them lingering in the back of your mind means that you are still stuck in the twin flame dynamic and are being called to do the work. Unfortunately, you probably just don't know the direction of how to get there. So hopefully this is a little bit clear, because I seem to see this pattern all the time with, how much time has gone by and twins are frustrated with not getting union, but they're still waiting and hoping, and they're just not being honest with themselves of what they're really looking for. And I don't blame anybody. The information can be confusing. You probably don't know how to get there, but let's be honest with ourselves in terms of what we're truly wanting so we can make the shift by doing the work. If you have not started meditation on your twin flame journey, you are nowhere near getting your twin flame out of your mind, let's be honest, and you are nowhere near your completing your ascension journey. Okay. Passage of time means nothing. Going back to my example of Mexico, you can dream all you want about wanting to go to Mexico, and 10 years could go by, but that does not mean you have visited Mexico. If that is the destination that you wish to get to, you have to do the travel to get there. Yes? So similarly with your twin flame journey, you have to ascend, which is a spiritual ascension, by going within. You need to meditate. I say this all the time. Start small if you're very new to meditation. You can start with 10 minutes, build on it, get to 20, but at a minimum, and if you can do more, God bless you, that's what you need to really do. If you can do about an hour a day is where you want to get to at a minimum. If you could do 2 hours, even great. And I don't suggest you having to do, everything. Like, let's say you wanted to do 2 hours. You don't have to do that in one sitting. Split it up. Do an hour in the morning, do an hour closer to bedtime if you can. But it really, really does help if you build that time. If you are really new, it's going to take you some time to get to that point of stillness within. So having a regular daily practice of meditation is where you want to start. Other things will fall into place, but this is where you need to be in order to shift on your journey. Thank you so much. I really hope this was clear. I'm trying to identify some major gaps because I am baffled by the amount of twins that just don't know the direction. And I really wish for you to stop circling, on this journey so that you can actually reach your destination. Your true destination is to reach the divine. Union with your divine counterpart is really just a byproduct of your spiritual transformation and your inward journey and your journey to the divine. Thank you so much for listening. I really hope this was helpful. God bless.